All right, thank you so much for joining us on 89.7 Contact FM. The show is One on One. My name is Eugene Anangwe. This particular morning, it's a 2-on-1 particular show. Of course, my guests right here say that they always move and talk as a team, and therefore we'll definitely be able to host both of them right here in the program. They are from the National Council of Persons with Disabilities. With me here is Balthazar Ndaisaba, the Dialogue in the Dark project manager at the National Council of Persons with Disabilities. Welcome to One on One, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, and also I have Oswald Tuize. He is the Director of Economic and Social Empowerment Unit at the National Council of Persons with Disability. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right, so very quickly, let's first of all put things into perspectives. We have a council of persons living with disabilities in the country. Very quickly, probably I'll start with Oswald. If you could shed some light on the immediate term responsibilities and duties of this council. What are they?
Yeah, thank you very much. The council is the government entity which promotes the rights of people with disabilities. It has been created in March 2011, and it is composed of all persons with abilities. Our major activities is lobby and advocacy, is mobilization and representation, is capacity building, is the coordination of all activities done in favor of people's abilities.
So you do advocacy.
Exactly.
From 2011, the council has been around.
All right.
So, Mr. Balthazar, when you talk of the council being available or in place since 2011, do you feel that there has been probably lack of proper awareness of the being of this council? How do you explain or justify or maybe clear that doubt in the air or in the minds of some people that this unit exists but we don't know about it?
Okay, thank you very much. I think National Council for Persons with Disability, of course, exists as a government entity. But myself, I'm representing National Union of Disability Organization of Rwanda as non-government organization.
Okay.
So we work closely.
You work closely.
So it shows that the council is existing. And we appreciate how National Council for Disability Organization of Rwanda is supporting non-government organization like NIDOR, National Union of Disability Organization of Rwanda as a non-government organization. So council is supporting us a lot, and we are working closely, and there are many interventions. So the existence of a National Union of Disability Organization of Rwanda, NIDO, really shows that council is supporting, and NIDO also has a lot of organization which is coordinating. Like you see, NIDO is union of 8 organization members. So NIDO is coordinating 8 organizations.
This is the institution you represent, where you have 8 organizations of people with disabilities.
Yes.
It's an umbrella body.
Yes.
So when you talk of this umbrella body being available, and also the National Council of Persons Living with Disabilities also being in existence, plus, of course, having a representative in Parliament or representatives in Parliament representing persons with disabilities, there seems in the face value that there is enough or more platforms for advocacy for people who are living with disabilities. But then there are those who are living in the streets or seeing in the streets, and they feel like, look at some of the people with disabilities we see in the streets begging. We see some of them, around streets not in good conditions. Do you feel then we are failing in one way or another? Let's first of all talk to the union.
Okay, thank you. Of course, the existence of those organizations, we support persons with disabilities in many areas, like livelihood, education, any area. So for us, the main purpose of our work is to support people to increase their livelihood, their life. So we are trying, and the people are grouped in associations. I think really a lot of things have been achieved, but there is also other things to achieve.
So practically, when you say you support them with education, with life, and what do you exactly mean by that? How do you do that? How can you fully explain and elaborate that?
For example, today we want to discuss on a project which is called Dialogue in Dark. Dialogue in Dark is special. I think that is where we have to start now this discussion around this, and we may enter on that discussion. What about it? What is Dialogue in Dark, DID, in Rwanda?
We'll be going into the Dialogue in the Dark project, but first of all, I want us also to understand definitely the responsibilities of your union and, of course, the council in supporting persons with disabilities. I've asked a question. We see some people with disabilities in the streets.
Yeah.
The question I'm asking here is, what is your responsibility as a union and as a council in helping these people? You have said that you're supporting them to build their lives, education, and other kind of needs.
Yeah.
Could you kindly elaborate on that?
Yeah, on that issue, really, a research has been conducted on that. Why people with disabilities, many are begging, and I think results has been shown. We are working together with NSPD, which is coordinating at the national level, of course, as a government institution, and the National Union for Disability Organization of Rwanda as a non-governmental organization is supporting. And from our side, we try to group people in associations so that people can work in association, then later in cooperatives, to increase their livelihood, their way of living. So we try to support them technically and even working with development partners to see if really we can improve their livelihood. Also, we do advocacy at national level, district level, to see really how things can be improved. And we have some progress whereby we have some where you might have good cooperatives, good associations, and even our members. As I said, NIDOD is an umbrella of 8 organizations. So we try to coordinate, to support activities done in those organizations. And those 8 organizations are specialized organizations which supports various types of disability. You may have physical disability, you may have mental disability, you may have other types of disability, even sports for persons with disability. You see, there are many. So we try to work together to improve lives of persons with disability, working through those members who are supporting persons in their association, their organization, to increase their level of living.
We'll be coming back to get deeper into that aspect, because the reason why I asked this question, Mr. Oswald, is because there seems to be a feeling on the ground by some people who are living with disabilities that they have either been neglected or their needs are not fully being met, either by the Council of Persons Living with Disabilities or by the Union of People or Persons Living with Disabilities. So how do you defend yourselves when this kind of criticisms come across?
Yeah, thank you very much. As my colleague has told you, the Council is much concerned about this begging issue in Rwanda. We have conducted research from April this year up to July on root causes of begging among people with disabilities.
What were some of those?
The findings showed us that 56% of beggars, they have what you call mindset issue,
that they always
can
have to
survive by begging
only.
Another problem is lacking employable skills. The history of people with disabilities in Rwanda told us that many of us did not study because of their parents are hiding them, and they did not give a chance to go to school. So consequently, they don't have employable skills to come and work, do any work. So they cannot work, they cannot do anything which can earn them money. So we believe by addressing this problem, there is a lot to be done. First of all, mobilization. We have started even mobilizing them, putting it together, telling them, first of all, they are human beings. They have to know they are human beings rather than being considered as a people who have disabilities. Number one. Number two, we are mobilizing local authorities to consider them in the VUP, Vision Omurenge programs. You know, there are three components in the VUP,
Yes.
whereby there is what you call direct support component, whereby they select the most vulnerable people, they include in the program. So through the program, there are some sectors who are considering some of them, but of course those who have surrendered to beg,
Yes.
but who wish to get something to do and get some weekly subsidies. Another problem, we are pushing so that we get enough budget to support them. Because from the last year, from the last fiscal year, 2013-2014, we managed to send like 45 million in the districts, whereby those millions are reserved to support cooperative of people with disabilities, the most vulnerable persons.
So what you mean here is that if you're not in a union, if you're not in a cooperative and you are disabled, you're not able to benefit from these funds?
No.
What does that mean?
That means there is some more framework people can start implementing the anti-pegging campaigns.
Okay.
Let me give you an example. We are working with another partner who is going to give them like cell phones to sell units, to sell cards, and of course there are people who are bringing livelihood projects whereby they are going to give some kettles, yeah, as a matter of improving their lives. So we believe we are working with other partners whereby we are guiding them. We are no longer in need of this kind of trainings. We need the people to be trained on entrepreneurship skills, how to start small businesses, and to immediately work with individual persons and the small associations, what you call BMINAs. Those are the informal groups. Those informal groups, when they have money, they're starting to save until they get to cooperatives which can sustain itself.
All right.
Yeah.
So Balthazar, when we talk of the issue of mindset, because this was the first thing that he mentioned as what was found out in the study, that is that is leading to most people with disabilities going to the streets to beg. That is a mindset issue, that they cannot survive without begging, and this is what they feel like is one of the ways of them earning a living. So how do we immediately deal with that from the union's perspective?
Okay. In National Union for Disability Organization of Rwanda, we try to search some projects which can support persons with disabilities, not only for begging issues, but also on how to improve livelihood. Like, for example, how to employ many as possible. How to employ some who have skills, have potentials which are not used. Like we will say later on this project we are coming to discuss. Dialogue in the Dark will tell you more.
All right, so you'll tell me more in the Dialogue in the Dark, which I can't wait to hear. But do you two know of a project by a certain lady or a group of young people called the Crutch Month Challenge?
The month
Crutch Month Challenge.
Yes.
You know it.
Yeah, I know it.
What do you think of it? Because I hosted the lady here, and part of the questions that I was asking her was the position of, the leadership in terms of either the representatives in parliament or in terms of the city officials or local authority, or even us as citizens, common citizens. What is in our place to support people with disabilities? And part of the reason that I was asking, or why I was asking this, is are we failing until we get to a point where a common citizen just says, okay, now you see, we've seen a lot of this begging issue in the streets and someone has to do something. And the people I expect to do it are probably not doing enough. And so I take it upon myself to do this particular project. In your own opinions, how do you read this particular project, and what is your voice or word in it?
For us, we got it as a success to our advocacy. From 2008, whereby the government of Rwanda has ratified the United Nations Convention on the Rights of People with Disabilities, people have woken up to start thinking bigger on what they can do in favor of people with disabilities. It is in this regard that the different partners are including disability into their activities.
Okay.
Yeah, and in other points, EDPLS Two, from 2013 to 2018, they have described disability as a cross-cutting. That means every institutions, all partners, they have to mainstream disability at their policy, programs, and the budgets.
So far, are you happy with what the progress?
Exactly.
Is it okay? Is it enough?
Yeah.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah. So there is no surprise to see people are bringing more ideas on how to promote disability issues. She came in our office with a young boy. They said you have like a campaign to start implementing the anti-begging campaign. Yeah, we shared with them the research findings, whereby they say our intervention is to bring on board those beggars to try to give some small revenue project. They can start making some businesses. Then they are coming from begging and they become human beings like others. So we believe if all people are thinking like this, there is no begging within 2 years.
All right.
And we are pushing ahead to see whether partners they can implement their projects, but including disability into theirs, so that we could have an inclusive society for all.
Do you think that probably the National Union of Disability Organizations should have been the first one or on the forefront to come up with such an initiative?
Yes, of course. That is why we are here. We respect National Council for Disability Organization of Rwanda. We work together to achieve general purpose of improving living conditions for persons with disabilities.
So the reason I'm asking this, I'm asking, do you think that probably the team behind that campaign was ahead of the union? Do you think that the union should have been the one on the forefront coming up with such initiatives?
Yeah, that is what we do. Really, at the district level, we sampled some district to go on field to discuss for local officials, local authorities, so that they may include in their programs persons with disabilities. And we are happy that local authorities are witnessing that they are happy to support persons with disabilities. And even their budget in their program, they include the persons with disabilities. We have a lot of success stories really, whereby you find people who doesn't have any disability are eager to support persons with disabilities.
So these are the success stories. So if someone is listening today and they may probably either due to arrogance or not being aware, what are those things that you feel either from the policy makers or the ordinary citizens or leaders? What are those immediate things that you feel need to be immediately addressed when it comes to including people with disabilities in our nation building processes?
Thank you very much. We shall put much emphasis on Dialogue in Dark project, but let me give you a summary briefing. We are very faced to mindset issue for people. If you see I have a visual impairment, immediately you have your mentality that I cannot do anything. I cannot read. I cannot be a pastor. I cannot be like a minister. So that's the mindset which has to be addressed. So when you go in the developed countries, you find that people's abilities are very advanced. You see? So we believe if all Rwandans are aware on ability of people with abilities, rather than seeing them as enable, we believe we shall have a very active society. And that's number one. Number two is to start implementing the employment plans. Because the history of people with disabilities in Rwanda, most of them, they did not study in formal education. So we are trying to struggle to see whether they can go to TVETs, training vacation training centers, whereby they can acquire hands-on skills in order to survive. So in case people are trained and they are given startup kits, we believe within 5 years we shall have inactive citizens who will not be a problem, but who will be a solution to our country.
All right.
Yeah.
So first of all, mindset. Number two, integrating them into employment positions. Now, you really are burning to talk about the dialogue in the dark.
Yes.
Why should we have dialogue in the dark? Talk to us about it, just very briefly.
Yeah, dialogue in the dark. As we said, we have to show abilities, potentials for persons with disabilities. They are like other persons. They are like other people. So we, in this dialogue in DAC, we want first of all to showcases that persons with disabilities are able, have abilities, and we take blind persons, blind people as a sample, but it is when we say dialogue and DAC, it is not only for blind people, it's for all, even sighted persons will benefit, because in dialogue, when you face it, it's when you understand it. I'm saying, for example, when you attend a dialogue and DAC sessions or workshops or exhibition, that is where really you learn a lot of things.
So when, where, how much, what do I need to do to be able to be a participant in this project?
For example, in this week, we started a dialogue in the dark demonstration event in Rwanda, starting 20th up to 24th. Of course, we are inviting some decision makers to come and get experience about persons with disabilities, mainly being served by blind people in the dark room, dialogue in dark. All work happen in the total dark room.
So you'll switch off all the lights.
Yes.
And have dialogue, talk, do all activities.
Yeah.
All right.
Not
so the
only-
aim is to, what's the aim actually?
The aim, let's say overall objective for this project, mainly as we say, is to improve living conditions of persons with disabilities through provision of employment opportunities and to raise awareness among the public. So we want to raise awareness. As if we have a center which advocate for persons with disabilities, really every person who want to understand issues, how persons with disabilities are living, they will visit that
workshop.
center.
This is the center.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. So as we finish very, very quickly, I want us to touch on the issue of the institutions, like learning institutions where people with disabilities are learning from. We have had cases where people have said, we do not have enough equipment, we don't have enough trained personnel who are able to understand and teach and train these people to be able to also have education just like other people who are not disabled. Quickly, could you tell me how this is, the status of the situation, and what you want to be done immediately?
Thank you very much. A lot has been done. A lot has been done. First of all, I have started by mentioning when people are changing mindsets, things can be done. Since there is one University of Rwanda and other branches, there are private universities, there are secondary schools, there are TVETs, there are elementary schools. All those there are some government institutions and private institutions. Those institutions, they have to set a plan. The plan is to train teachers, to educate the students, and to get the equipments. So, because the government of Rwanda, from 2007, they have adopted the national special needs and inclusive education policy. The policy should be implemented by different partners, including the government itself.
Okay.
So the government is doing something to promote the policy. For instance, they're trying to have a special center in the University of Rwanda College of Education, whereby from this year they're going to start a special needs department. You see, the special needs department, the
Where
first
people
ever
with-
in the country.
Yes, people with
to train
disabilities.
people's abilities for special needs and the other people without disabilities on how to acquire skills in special needs. This center will train teachers on how to know special needs for different students with different impairments, so that in case they get a job, they will know how to help students with the different impairments.
Okay.
Number one. Number two, it's a center whereby special equipments will be provided. The government has provided different computers, different brain machines, and special personnel, but we believe within 5 years they are going to decentralize.
Okay.
They
So
have like
there'll
a
be-
plan for setting 5 centers.
Sure.
Whereby we shall have like
Across
regional
the
centers.
country.
Yes.
Voila. Thank you so much for that particular one. So he has mentioned all the things that are there or are being done.
Yeah.
Just in less than 30 seconds, could you tell me what is missing, the missing gap, the missing link that needs to be touched on so that we can have, things running smoothly on issues with people with disabilities? Just very quickly, because our time is up.
Okay, thank you very much. I think there is a lot to do. As he said, the government has a good policies and good programs. We are looking to bring on board also development partners.
Okay.
Like, for example, today, some big organizations are eager to support this movement, disability movement, I'm saying, like GIZ de Co-emploi, CBM, VSO, and other development partners really are eager to support. Even DFID, of course, on board, and there are many. Of course, I cannot exhaust all list. There are many people. There are many organizations.
So these are the ones that now need to come in on board.
Yes.
Voila. Thank you so much, Mr. Balthazar and Oswald, for being on one-on-one.
Thank you.
All right, there you have it. Time for me to wrap it up at this particular moment. We are hoping that we have made an impact, probably also shared more information, shed some light on issues to do with persons living with disabilities. All right, disability is not inability. This is what we believe. And from me, Eugene Anangwe, I'm signing off. Goodbye for now.